Having him as a dad was like winning the lottery without buying a ticket. He knew when to help you. He knew when to let you fail. And he was there for both. He was proud to be a dad. He would often joke that no one knew his name and that people only called him Nathan's dad or Megan's dad. It was a title he wouldn't trade. He was there, always. It didn't matter what the event, how big or small, the distance, the time, exciting or not. You could expect him there because he wanted to be there. He always had a reason to gather, and we gathered a lot. It really didn't matter what for. Just pick something and celebrate it. Who else could rally 30 people to make a 3-day weekend revolving around a pickle contest? We celebrated everything. If you could celebrate pickles, you could celebrate anything. He liked to gather, and if we gathered, we would eat. Food never ran low. It always tasted good. It was always homemade. It was always his recipe. His number one tip for raising a family: eat dinner at the table every night. To stay together when we were apart, he started the annual tomato contest. First 2-inch red tomato grown from seed won a 12-pack of beer. Music was in his blood. I'll always remember the first accordion he gave me. It was too hard to play, so I traded it in for a guitar. But he could make one sound good. It wasn't Christmas without it. It wasn't a campfire without his harmonica, or scout camp without him playing taps. We always appreciated the impromptu jam sessions. He brought the entertainment wherever he went. He captured our attention. He steadily climbed a tall ladder. He didn't skip steps, and he earned his way up each rung. Starting as a machinist, keeping a sawmill running, to being a wingman on a project that led to his proudest work of all. The best things in life are often what we work the hardest for. His satisfaction was abundant. Given the chance, he took the trip. He saw Europe, fished in Alaska, snorkeled in St. Thomas, vacationed in Mexico, and odds are, on a 3-day weekend, he'd spend 4 of them pulling the trailer and camping on the coast. He was Poppy. He described it as life in the bonus round.
Who taught you how to do that?
Poppy.
He had a persistent request of 8 grandkids. I told him he better have more kids. The 4 grandkids he did have just got more time with Poppy. He was a maker of memories, and they all looked up to him. I want everything I'm supposed to get. He coined the phrase and said it often. From fluoride at the dentist to bacon on his burger. If the question was asked, there was one response. If your roof needed replaced, he was there. Want to get married? He could do that. Want to make beer? He had a recipe. Get stuck in the field? He'd help you out. Need help at a fundraiser? He would be there. Need someone to lead the scouts? He did it. Bring him some apples? He would make you cider. Remodeling the house? He knew what to do. Need a car dealer? He had the bow tie. Never shot skeet before? He'd buy the bullets and pull the rope. Learning to fish? He was your guy. Time for harvest? He was there. First time hosting Thanksgiving? he'd cook the turkey and give you the credit. He was decisive, but there was one decision he made that made it all work. He was a well-seasoned pair of boots. She was his polish. He said he wanted a redhead that could skin a rabbit and bake a pie. That's a hard one to find, but he did. He found her young, held on tight, and never let her go. They showed us how marriage should be. They showed respect for each other. They laughed. They were a team. Who could have imagined it would happen to him? But cancer does not discriminate. It was one of those phone calls none of us will forget. What we thought was a simple checkup quickly changed the course of all of our lives, especially his. Adversity has a way of bringing out true character. If there was ever a time to be mad, to be selfish, that was it. But he wasn't. He talked about how hard this was on our family, but never about the difficulties of his medical treatment. As terrifying as it must have been to know what was coming, he did not talk about prognosis, but rather what else he could still accomplish. He wanted so badly to get back to work. It was always his first question at each appointment. Even as his capabilities were increasingly simplified, there was always a tenacious, systematic approach to accomplishing the challenge and reaching the goal in front of him. He saw the value in keeping traditions alive. As hard as it was, he made it happen. The day he got home from his first craniotomy, he made pickles because it was the season. 2 weeks later, he went camping because it was Labor Day. He still beat us in book and run. It's what we did when we got together, and that's how it would play out. He brought us joy at Christmas. He had a final woodworking project, and he still worked as much as he could. He lived his life to the fullest every day. And it's easy to get mad of his shortened life. I like to think of it as concentrated. If we measure not by time, but what he was able to accomplish, the generations he inspired, the lift he gave to so many others, I feel much better. But how could we not want more? Everyone he crossed paths with was better off for it. From a single encounter to a lifelong relationship, he made an impact. He was a rare combination of perseverance, ability, and kindness. Though he ran out of time, what he left behind will keep him moving forward. They say that you leave like you lived. We saw the love and respect he gave by the love and respect that was returned. And as bad as this hurts to watch him leave, it's a small price to have known him. He had integrity.
He could influence.
He had values.
He was driven.
His life's work will change the world.
He valued little moments.
He was transparent.
He was a cook.
He had a green thumb.
His laugh was contagious.
He liked beer.
He wrote poetry.
He was determined.
He was our rock.
He could slay it on the accordion.
He persevered.
He instilled confidence.
He was our helpline. He was larger than life. And I got to be Les's daughter.
And I got to be Les's son.
I got to be Les's wife. 40 years ago, he told me, hang on to my coattails and we'll go places. If you look in my closet, you'll see that the tops of my shoes are all worn off. It was a great ride.
I'm so blessed. I don't know who's not here. I have all my friends, my family here tonight, and I'm so happy. This is the best birthday party in 60 years I can ever. Whatever we needed, everybody helped. We need some help making beer. Dale made beer. My nephew made beer. I made beer. And then some food. Somebody made beer, food. And it was just everybody put it together. And we're all here and just celebrating. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. We can't leave until all the homemade beer's gone.